Hello and welcome to Pitt Street Research. My name is Stuart Roberts and I'm one of the co-founders of our firm. And joining me on the morning of Wednesday, the 26th of February 2025 from Perth is Mr. Scott Williamson, who's the CEO of Blackstone Minerals, ASX BSX. Good morning.
Morning, Stuart. Thanks for having me.
Great times to be at Blackstone Minerals. Not only have you got the Tekoa project in Vietnam at a fairly advanced stage of development and now looking for partnering interest in Vietnam, admittedly a challenging nickel market, but one that's looking better than it was a year ago. You've just gotten hold of the Mankayan Copper-Gold Project in the Philippines. That's a very exciting project by the looks of it. Tell us how Mankayan came into the Blackstone portfolio.
Yeah, so we were approached by the IDM International team late last year, and we were particularly interested in the fact that it is a important metal, copper, to the energy transition. So it is along the same theme as our nickel deposit in Vietnam, but also the scale and the size of this opportunity. It is a world-class opportunity, and we're pretty excited to really understand it better through further exploration and geology, geophysics, and very similar to the way we did the Vietnam asset back in nearly over 5 years ago now. It's really about going back and looking at this geology, doing the typical exploration, systematically exploring and understanding the geology, then moving through the study phases. So similar to what we did in Vietnam, we'll drill as much as we need to, then we'll move it into scoping study, PFS, and all of those required studies to move this mine into production. So very similar to what we've done in Vietnam, but this time with copper and gold. So it's a very significant gold grades in this system as well, which we're obviously very keen on with the current gold price environment.
Yeah. So looking at that, typically gold grades in the drill intercepts about 0.35 grams a ton, 0.35% copper. So a good balance of the two, which makes you a pretty attractive development opportunity. And a lot of the good stuff is showing up the 1% plus copper, only about 200 meters below surface, if that. So relatively shallow and good grades project. And importantly, near the world-class Lepanto copper mine in the Philippines, in island of Luzon, north of Manila. The neurology is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good address, and we're lucky that those gold grades really swing the revenue almost in favor of gold. So it's about a 50-50 revenue split between copper and gold, depending on your recoveries on your gold and depending on how high the gold price ends up going. But so it is just as much a gold play, but also it's a gold mining district. So the Lepanto gold mine has been operating for over 100 years. So there's a long history of operating gold, and they've mined also copper gold in the past. And then they've got this really exciting large scale porphyry opportunity as well, which is called Far Southeast. And that was purchased by Gold Fields for $230 million. They purchased only 40% of that. And they've returned that back to the Lepanto gold mine. So that the current owner is the Lepanto gold mine. It's 100% locally owned, listed entity. So they're listed on the Philippine Stock Exchange. And we're really keen to collaborate with them and potential to bring these two world-class porphyries together, because it doesn't make sense to build two concentrators and there's an opportunity to share underground infrastructure if it's an underground. And all of those synergies come to play once we can open up that collaboration. So really keen to work with Lepanto Gold Mine team in bringing these two world-class porphyries together, because that will attract major mining companies to this jurisdiction.
Right. Now, most of 2025, I expect, will be exploration. You're pretty convinced that the resource is more than the current numbers are showing you. What do you hope to have achieved by this time in 2026?
Yeah, so in particular, we can see that there's even drill holes that haven't been completely assayed. So we've got this mineralized halo outside of the porphyry, which needs to be assayed. So there's opportunities just in the holes that have already been drilled. And then we want to do some infill drilling, because we think that the gold grade could actually increase. All of the drilling previously has been done vertically, and we think the veining is vertical, and there's potential that they've missed the opportunity to really capture the abundance of gold veining, which is vertical. So you need to actually angle the holes to get a better representation of that gold veining. So we think there's potential for the gold grades to increase with some angled holes. So we'll do that. But we'll also look along strike and down dip and really open this up. We want to do some geophysics as well. So no one's actually done geophysics. So this is a discovery that was made back in 1960. They were targeting a structural target, and then no one's actually stepped back and used all the modern day geophysical techniques which we use all through the world. Like these days, it's all about induced polarization, magnetics, and all those typical geophysical techniques which could really unlock even more copper and gold. So really excited to step it right back, systematically explore it, and then hopefully in the next 6 to 12 months we'll come out with an even bigger resource than previously reported.
Right. Now, what's interesting to me is 2022, there was a change of government in the Philippines. President Duterte left office. He had a history of antagonism, it's fair to say, towards the mining industry. His successor, Bongbong Marcos, is very pro-mining by the sounds of it. So the timing for you in terms of your entry into the Philippines is exquisite.
Yeah, so interestingly, what Duterte did is he actually cleaned up the mining industry and he got rid of the scallywags. And what the good thing is that unfortunately there was collateral damage. So even the good miners were affected by that. So there was a real clean out of the mining industry, which is great, because now there's a clean sheet for Marcos to move forward with. And we've seen just in the first year or so, there was it was up 32% in mineral production in the first year. So we're excited that it's become pro mining, and now's the time for the international mining community to re-enter the Philippines. And we think that there will be a lot more focus on the Philippines with Marcos in power, and we've got a good run. So there's another 3 or 4 years with him as the president. And so he's definitely pro-mining and he's opening up for business. And I think what we're seeing is they've probably seen Indonesia become the powerhouse they are and really drives the economy through the Indonesian nickel industry. And there's that same opportunity here for copper in the Philippines. So some of the best copper gold porphyries globally. But it just needs that impetus to bring the mining community back. And we think that the good thing is there's a long history of good operators like B2 Gold, Oceana Gold, so it can be done, and you can operate gold mines, copper mines for multiple decades. So there is good precedent in the Philippines of good operating.
Let's go back to Tekoa in Vietnam. Obviously, great project. The numbers look pretty good, and the ESG component of that project was very high. What's held you back there, it's fair to say, is the price of nickel is lower than it was a couple of years ago, and that's had impacts right through the nickel industry globally. What's the state of play with Tekoa, and what's the potential to realise value there?
Yeah, it's interesting. We're actually pretty happy with today's nickel price. So at today's nickel price, the Vietnam asset will make good money. The problem is the sentiment towards nickel, and unfortunately, when you're a junior miner, you're only as good as your ability to raise capital, and the sentiment has just been so difficult for us to raise capital for nickel, and that's why we're continuing to look for joint venture partners. So we're looking at accessing capital in different jurisdictions and looking for bigger partners that can take a longer term view and not get caught up in this sentiment issue here. So we are well advanced. We've got a couple of groups that are at the final stages of that process for a joint venture partner, and we're hoping to be able to bring that to market as soon as possible as well. So that the potential there is that the new partner there may be able to free carry us, and that means that all the new funding would then go into the Philippines copper gold opportunity. So that allows us to still have good exposure to nickel when that returns, and that asset which we've spent a lot of money on, and we're really keen to keep that exposure to that asset. But also going forward, we think that the money, the new funding will be able to be pushed into the copper gold asset in the Philippines.
Okay. Well, it's a great start to 2025. Looking forward to watching it achieve for the rest of the year in Mankayan, and obviously the big wildcard factor in Tekoa. Scott Williamson, keep up the good work.
Thanks, Stuart. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.